I recently heard a conversation where someone was saying that it's too expensive to shop at thrift stores now because thrifting has become so popular that prices have skyrocketed, and that at that point we may as well buy new. Some people argue that thrifting is the new in trend, and some argue that it's much more than that, possibly demonstrating a sign of an impending economic downfall. And I just want to share my experience with you because I grew up thrifting. Pretty much everything that I had as a child was either hand-me-downs or thrifted items. So today I'll share with you some of my favorite minimalist thrifting tips to give you the ultimate thrifting guide. This is for those of you who want to save more money on things that you already want or need. For those of you who are new, hey, I'm Yessie. I'm a previous hospice nurse turned homeschool mom, and on this channel we talk about minimalism and slow intentional living through a holistic lens. So we don't just talk about decluttering stuff and physical items, but we go much deeper than that and talk about mindset shifts and habit changes towards living an abundant and fulfilling life. So if this sounds interesting to you, be sure to subscribe so you won't miss when I post a new video. Okay, so the first thing that I've learned is that it's the big chain thrift stores that are way overpriced. So think places like Goodwill or Plato's Closet. These places are much larger than the typical mom and pop thrift shop, so their buildings require higher utility costs, they probably have more employees, and with all of that comes a higher expense. I personally much prefer the small locally owned shops. Sometimes they may be a little bit out of your way, but I found some stupid cheap items at some of these shops. I've purchased things like books, decorative boxes, and baskets for 50 cents, and even kids' clothes for $1. Just recently, my mom bought my son a whole outfit for $1. This down jacket for my son cost $3. No way that even comes close to what it would have cost new in the store. The next tip is to look for potential. Something that I've found super helpful is to look for how I can alter an item to work for me. Don't just see items for what they are now. Thrifting often requires a bit of time and energy, and sometimes even creativity, to figure out how we can update something or how we can alter it in some way to work for us. Like this $5 mirror that I chalk painted, this 50-cent box whose company logo I sanded off and stained, planters that I've spray painted, or dresses that I've altered. If you keep your eyes open, you can often find really beautiful pieces at super cheap prices. Also, for finding really cool antique pieces or just really good quality pieces in general, I personally stay away from places like Goodwill or antique stores. And maybe this is just me in my area where I live because antiquing seems to be very popular here, but I found that antique stores specifically can be way overpriced. My favorite thrift stores by far are definitely the locally owned thrift shops, and especially the ones that are not for profit, because I find that people donate some really nice things to them just out of trust. And because they're smaller, their prices are much more affordable. Another tip is to shop seasonal items immediately after the season. So we've likely heard this within stores, like just regular stores, but you can also do this with thrift shops. I don't have photos to show you this, but when I was a senior in high school, I was in a beauty pageant, and it just so happened that it actually came after prom season. And so I found myself at several thrift stores, and I saw that several of them had lots of beautiful evening gowns for sale. And this was how I was able to snag a gorgeous evening gown for 15 bucks. But I'm so thankful for those $15 spent, because for the first time in my life, I felt beautiful and I felt like I mattered. And my family could have easily said, oh, we don't have hundreds to spend on this. No, we're not gonna do this, and we're not gonna take you. But instead, they allowed me to find a different alternative. And I'm so thankful for that because they gave me a beautiful memory that I'll never forget. So this tip doesn't just apply to holiday decor like a lot of us tend to think. It can also apply to clothes. So think if you want a winter jacket, then maybe shop after the winter for the next year. Or summer clothes for your kids. Then once summer ends, a lot of people are getting rid of those things. So just doing this can not only save you from doing it within stores, but then also when you thrift shop, you can do the same thing as well. If there's something that you want that's seasonal, especially with holiday stuff, I highly recommend that you wait until afterwards and you'll snag some awesome deals. Because chances are people are going to be donating those things like holiday items when the holiday is done and they want that new shiny object. We can use their shopping to our benefit. This one may not be for everyone, and I don't know if they're necessarily in lots of different states or countries, but another tip to consider is if you have time to rummage and you have one near you, try the crazy deal stores that sell Amazon returns. At least that's what I was told they do. Don't quote me and let me know if that's not what they do. But in all honesty, you probably won't find much like high quality items there, and it's definitely not for everybody. because as the name implies, it's pretty crazy in there. But I was curious. I heard about somebody talk about it, and so I went one day and I found some nice things like this box that I use as a cord organizer for $1, this candle holder set for $1 each, and this puzzle for $1, because I love me some puzzles. But there is a big caveat to stores like these and just thrift shopping in general. I highly encourage you to have a wish list on your phone, or maybe a piece of paper if you want to actually do it on a piece of paper. I personally like the phone because it's just, you have it with you most of the time and you can just quickly jot things down. But have a wish list of things that you're on the lookout for. Because with stupid cheap prices, it's so easy to go down the rabbit hole of buying the next shiny new object because it's only $1, it's only $2. But the issue is that if you're not careful, you're going to end up with lots of clutter and lots of waste and a more chaotic home, and then you still have a shopping problem, only now you can buy more because all the stuff costs less. Thrifting can easily become a hobby, and it's a double-edged sword if you're already addicted to shopping, because it can be the perfect enabler. So keep a wish list. I usually wait until I have a few things on my wish list before I actually go thrifting, because it's more likely that I'll actually find something that I've been wanting. And I also feel like it's a better use of my time because this way I know exactly what items I'm hunting for specifically. Also, something else that I would highly recommend is that before you buy an item and bring it into your home, give that item a home. This means that you develop a mental picture of exactly where that item will live. And if off the top of your head or by looking at a picture on your phone that you've saved, you're still getting crickets, it's probably best that you put that item back down. It's okay. It's meant for someone else, and there's something better in store for you. We're not thrifting with a scarcity mindset here. So something that I touched on with this tip is that you can actually take a photo of your room, and that way it can kind of give you a visual, especially if you feel like you have a lot more stuff that you still don't really know where things belong. Personally, I would highly recommend you declutter first, because sometimes when you declutter, you can find new ways to use items, because a lot of times you just have so much stuff and all the beauty is just kind of stuck behind things you've already forgotten about. Or once you declutter some stuff, maybe now you have a new basket that you can use in a different room, or now you have space to rearrange your furniture and you found that you don't even want new stuff at all. So sometimes just by decluttering, you can kind of avoid that wanting of new decor and new stuff to put in your home. I personally recommend you declutter first, but then once you do that, take a photo of your room. This can help you, if you're especially a visual person, to see, okay, this new item that I'm thinking of buying, first of all, where would I put it? Does it have a home? Or is it just gonna have to be tossed in the corner because I don't have the space for it? And then also, does it actually match the style that I'm going for? And I'm not saying that things have to be matchy-matchy, but if you have a specific style in mind, taking a look at your room and actually having a photo will help you. So you can just kind of save it to your favorites and just keep it just as a reference. Next up is to thrift online. So now let's talk about those higher price tag items. My husband has made most of the furniture in our home, but one of the reasons that I love thrifting for furniture is because you can often get better quality items, because since they're used, it's pretty easy to see that they've already stood the test of time, or that maybe they haven't. When it comes to furniture and baby gear, Facebook Marketplace is a really good way to snag deals. I personally don't have Facebook, but I won't deny that it's a really great tool because unlike the archaic Craigslist, it's actually linked to a profile, and so it's safer that way. And something that online thrifting can help you do as well is that you can look up photos of an item that you'd like to buy and just see how it stands up over time. So for example, I've wanted a leather accent chair for a while, until I saw some scary photos of how leather can look with time, with sagging, creasing, and discoloration where you sit, or God forbid you sweat on. Yeah, no leather chairs for me in my future. Something helpful to keep in mind as well is that if you're constantly seeing the same item for sale, ask yourself why that might be. So for example, I have been wanting a pop-up coffee table for a while because I work on my sofa. It's not exactly the best setup for a healthy back, you know? And I know that my husband can make one, but the metal pieces to actually make it pop up is a little bit more than I'm willing to pay. So after some searching online, I found that a lot of people were selling West Elm tables. And at first, I saw the West Elm table and I thought, oh, okay, this must be like really good quality item, and I got excited. Until I asked myself, wait a minute, why are several people selling West Elm tables? Come to find out, a lot of people don't like the way that it closes because it tends to not close evenly. So knowing what issues an item has can be really helpful. If you're a handy person, maybe you can get a better bargain because you know what issues it has, but you know you can fix it. Or you know yourself and you know you're not really going to want to bother with that. But all that being said, besides the incredible deals and the money-saving benefits, something that I find truly beautiful about thrifted items is that they tell a story. They have history, and they also provide with you a memory of you actually getting the item and finding that thing rather than that mindless click online or buying that mass-produced item that everyone else has in their home, which is perfectly fine if you like that style, by the way. A couple of days ago, I laid on my bed and I admired the painting that's directly in front of it. This painting that's right across from our bed was found on the curb of a thrift store that was going out of business. And every time I see it, I wonder, who made it? What inspired them? How did it actually end up there? And I love this enigma. It's a sort of a puzzle that I may never solve, but I love to look at and I love to contemplate. My channel relates to minimalism and slow intentional living, so it may be surprising to hear me talk about a physical item as having sentimental value. But I've reached a conclusion with this. I am personally a lot less attached to stuff than I used to be. Like even this home that my husband and I built with our literal blood and sweat that has "I love yous" written in the studs. I'd sell it. And like, God forbid it would burn down, like it would be a horrible thing, of course. But I know we could build another one, like we have insurance, thank God, as long as everybody's fine. It's not the home itself that I'm super attached to. It's the memories that I value that we were able to do something so beautiful together. Or this bed that my husband and I built together. If it randomly exploded, I feel like I would be more upset by the mess, honestly, because I know that we had a beautiful experience doing it. We could do it again, provided we have health. So it's not about the stuff. It's the memories that are attached to it. It's the bonds and the relationships that I hold. But all that being said, I do appreciate what I have so much more now that I have a tenth of the clothes and the shoes that I used to have, the home decor that I used to have, because now most of what I have does tell a story. Most of what I have is something that I believe to be beautiful or that actually gets used. So when you go thrifting, keep at the forefront of your mind. What kind of lifestyle do you want to live? And what feeling do you want your home to have? And do these items actually align with that? So that's it for today's video. I hope you found it helpful. If so, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe so you won't miss when I post a new video. And let me know if you'd like to see a thrift with me video. I've never filmed in public, and honestly, the thought kind of scares me. But maybe my public humiliation could be kind of fun. If you enjoyed this video, you will love my video 20 ways to upgrade your home decor in under $20. There, I share tons of tips on how to transform those thrift finds that you may have found. So it's the perfect match for this video. Until next time, bye!